Have you ever said to yourself, why do you keep on getting in my own way? Why do I sabotage myself? And then, of course, as we all do, we're doom scrolling late at night, and our Instagram feed and our TikTok feed calls this self-sabotage. But hey, here's the truth. Self-sabotage isn't what you think it is. So in this episode of the Scenic Route, we'll explore the science behind we hold ourselves back and how to move forward with more clarity and compassion. So stay tuned. There's a different way to think about mental health, and it starts with slowing down. Sometimes the longest way around is the shortest way home, and that's exactly why we're taking the Scenic Route. Hi, I'm Jennifer Walter, host of the Scenic Route podcast. Think of me as your sociologist, sister in arms, and rebel with many causes. Together, we're blending critical thinking with compassion, mental health with a dash of rebellion, and personal healing with collective change. We're trading perfectionism for possibility and toxic positivity for messy growth. Each week, we're exploring the path to better mental health and social transformation. And yes, by the way, pretty crystals are totally optional. You ready to take the scenic route? Let's walk this path together. So maybe you constantly forget to follow up on networking opportunities that could advance your career and then wonder why you're not making any progress. Or maybe you find yourself getting sick right before important events. Like not faking it, like genuinely developing headaches, stomach issues, big opportunities arise. Or maybe you procrastinate on applying for jobs you really want until the deadline kind of passes, and then you apply to ones that feel safe. You're overqualified, for instance. Or maybe you kind of like pick an argument with your partner right before you're supposed to meet your family or a big event as well, or you become just unusually critical of a relationship when things are smooth sailing. Or maybe you suddenly become too busy to maintain friendships that are getting burnt, letting meaningful connections fade out through just benign neglect. Maybe you sabotage your own credibility in meetings by downplaying your expertise. The sentence is always kind of like, I might be wrong, but, or like, this is probably a silly question right before like sharing actually something brilliant. Or maybe you have like mysterious creative blocks right when your art of writing is gaining recognition. You'll find yourself reorganizing your entire like workspace instead of working on a project that matters the most. So what makes these behaviors particularly insidious is that they often feel like rational decisions in the moment. Yet these decisions leave a nagging sensation in the back of your head, and you keep on coming back to them over and over again, and you replay them in your head. And as one does, you turn to social media searching for answers, and you find them all rearranged neatly and labeled self-sabotage. And it feels awful, like you're betraying yourself, like you're like a part of you is working against you, like you're your own worst enemy. Like, here's the truth. Self-sabotage isn't really what you think it is. It's not proof that you're lazy or broken or doomed to get in your own way. That's something far more human and far more hopeful, and something we have to look at. So what self-sabotage really is, like when you hear the word sabotage, you probably imagine, I don't know, in my head, it's like someone sneaking into a factory with a wrench and like deliberately wreaking havoc on a machine, like intentional, calculated harm, right? But when it comes to ourselves, that image doesn't quite fit. I don't think most of us are plotting to go into our brains with a wrench and just kind of like ruin everything. And also, like, if you go to the Bible of clinical psychology, like Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, it does not have a specific diagnosis for self-sabotage as a standalone condition. It's listed, or it describes self-sabotaging behaviors within other diagnoses. Yes, mind. But what we're usually throwing around with self-sabotage is internet psychology, a label that's both too simple and too harsh for what's actually happening. What psychologists do recognize are adaptive behaviors that have outlived their usefulness, right? Imagine something that you learned as a kid that helped you survive and stay safe. And once you've grown, you probably don't need it anymore, but you also don't really realize it's there. So you have like defense mechanism, coping strategies, right? They all once served you, but now they kind of constrain you. So what is called self-sabotage is usually just our nervous system's way of saying, this doesn't feel safe. Like, I don't want this. So your brain doesn't really distinguish between physical danger and emotional vulnerability. They're kind of like on the same level of like, this does feel not safe. I don't like it. When you're about to take a big risk, apply for a dream job, you have a difficult conversation, put your creative work out into the world, you're kind of like your alarm system treats this like about the same as your, I don't know, know, you would be scuba diving in a pool full of poisonous snakes. That's an awful image. I don't know why my mind came up with that. Like, no psychologist. But like, so it activates your kind of like most reliable protection strategies. That could be procrastination to kind of like delay the sting of potential failure. Like, oh, I don't even want this bad enough. Oh, I didn't even want it anyway. It's okay if I lost. Like, or perfectionism shields us from the shame of not good enough. Avoidance spares us the risk of rejection or disappointment. Like, I'm just gonna not deal with this. I'm not gonna deal with this person, so this person cannot reject. They're not like character flaws. This is your designing. Like, your system is systeming. Like, your nervous system is actually supposed to do what it's designed to do. The problem is just what used to keep you safe might keep you small now. And on the surface, these behaviors look destructive, but underneath, they're protective strategies. Outdated armor that becomes a trap, right? Like, the armor you wear as a kid will not fit you when you're grown up. So I don't think there's something as you intentionally self-sabotaging yourself. And the recent study came out with that was very interesting, that not all self-saboteurs are the same. So let's look into that. A study in 2025 found 3 distinct patterns how people respond to negative consequences. Like, think of them as 2 different operating systems. Like, sensitives, 1, who learn very quickly from bad experiences. 2, unawares, who only change once someone explains the cause and effect in detail. And compulsives, who understand exactly what's wrong, but keep repeating the behavior anyway. And I'm sure, like, with one, you're raising a hand for one of the 3. I know which hand I'm raising. Hello, Team Compulsive. Woo, woo. And like, here's what blew like searches away during what they found in the study. These patterns were pretty stable. They tested 6 months later, and they found like that was still a thing. So it's interesting, right? It's almost kind of like a self-sabotage. It isn't just about motivation or willpower, which I kind of like get a anger rash every time I hear willpower, because yeah, sure. But like, it's about how your specific brain processes feedback and risk. Well, let's look at those. I think those 3 types, it's really important to know which type you are. And so because like, let me tell you about one of these 3 types, because I guarantee you'll recognize yourself or someone you love when done. Okay? So the sensitive, the quick learners. So like, okay, let's say he's Jake. Like, he's that friend who touches the hot stuff once and never does it again. Okay, Jack, everyone thinks Jack is very smart, huh? When Jack bombed a presentation because he didn't prepare enough, he felt sick for days in his stomach, and then like the next presentation, he blew it out of her. So yeah, one bad experience, immediate course correction. Jay, that's usually like the one where like, so like, he's a sensitive, right? He has like efficient alarm systems. He's naturally good at connect dots. I did this thing, it hurt, I won't do it again. Like, cause and effect. Like, he has a really good, I don't know, almost kind of like a smoke detector. Like, one bit of smoke and then it goes like, ooh, not doing it. And if this is you, there's a chance you probably beat yourself up for overreacting to feedback or criticism, right? Or to perfectionism. But here's the truth: your quick learning is actually a superpower. You just need better reflection systems to harness it. And after any difficult situation, ask yourself these 3 questions: what worked? What didn't? What's one tiny tweak I want to try next time? Your brain already wants to learn. Just kind of like give it a clear process. And we have like the unawares, the hidden patterns. Let's work with Maria. She just kept getting passed over for promotions and couldn't really figure out why. My work is good. She's reliable. She get it. What Maria couldn't see was that she's consistently avoiding stopping meetings, especially when her boss was there. She thought that she was being respectful, but her silence was being read as the moment someone connects those dots for her. Maria, here's what I'm noticing. Kind of like everything changed. And this is often for like what I see in my coaching clients, right? You need someone to kind of like see, hey, this is what I'm noticing. What's going on? So it seems kind of like they're living this like invisible maze, and they keep hitting the same wall over and over again, but they can't see what's blocking them. It's true, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. Everyone has this blind spot of what you don't see. So this is why sometimes it's just super like a good idea to get outside help, like to get someone who's like, hey, this is what I've been noticing. How are you doing with that? How are you feeling with that? So it's not like you're not smart. It doesn't have anything to do with that. You just see patterns differently than other people do, or you're just in the midst of it and you don't see it as someone who looks from the outside. But once like you've been told, like the glass shattered. So if it is you, right? Like all the times I'm sure you've heard like, just learn from your mistakes, which then feels possible because really impossible because you don't really know what the mistake actually was. So I'm sure like if this is you, like all punishment based approaches like fines, consequences, tough love, I'm sure they would backfire for you. Like, because you're not defiant. You're not like doing this on purpose. because you're probably just not confused, but you're not doing this on purpose. You're just like, what? Wait, what's going on? Try this. Find your pattern detective, someone who can lovingly point out what you can't see. Maybe start a conversation I keep ending up in this situation, but I can't figure out what I'm doing to create it. Like, will you help me connect the dots? Can you help? Can you mirror me what you see? And then we have category 3, the compulsive, the knowing but stuck. And then let's call him David. David knows exactly what's happening. He can tell you in detail why he's staying up until 2 a.m. scrolling social media and having wrecked his morning routine because he wanted to get up early. He understands that snapping as a kid when he's stressed is pushing them away. He reads the books, takes the courses, makes the plans. But when a moment comes, when he's tired, when the stress hits, I don't know, he snaps as a kid, his hand reaches for the phone, or he reaches for the Ben and Jerry's ice cream. He has mouth open. It's with sharp words or just putting more Ben and Jerry's in depending on the mood. It's like watching yourself make the same mistake of motion, dreaming at yourself to stop, but somehow unable to change course. So it's almost kind of like they have this knowing doing gap. And we had an episode, a past episode on this. You can go, I'll link it. So the knowledge part of your brain works perfectly, right? They understand cause and effect. Could have write a paper on this, but the breakdown and the bridge between knowing and acting, it's like they have the smoke detector that gets the alarm, but the alarm is not connected to the sprinkler system. So if this is you, you've probably been told you already know what to do. Just do it more times than you can count. And I for sure know I fucking can. And every time it just feels too, I don't know, just flap your arms harder when you're trying to fly. And it's not emotion and motivation problem or knowledge. It's just a different approach is needed. So try this for once. Stop trying to outthink this because there's no out. Instead, build what I'd call, I don't know, let's call it moment of choice scaffolding or a chain of moments. Have really clear very clear if-then plans in motion. If it's 9 p.m., I plug my phone in the kitchen and pick up my book. Or just, it's 9 p.m., I plug my phone in the kitchen. If, then, no but. Design your environment to work with you, right? So that good choices are made easier for you. I don't know, have an alarm clock in your bedroom instead of your phone. Have popcorn at home instead of dips. I don't know what it is, right? Just work with your environment. Let it support and also connect with the body in a way before acting on an urge of some kind. There's several tools I use. Sometimes one helps me. Sometimes I kind of need a chain of those. I really like box breathing. That's we also have an episode on this with Michelle Sub. It's 4 counts in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. Or I like tapping. I have a lot of tapping scripts I use so I don't have to think about it before I just grab out the script. Or I kind of do the connect with my environment, 5, 4, 3, 1. There are different things, right? So, and the goal isn't perfect self-control. It's just kind of creating structures that work with your brain instead of again. And yeah, so this is really interesting research, right? It's not really character flaws. They're not signs you're broken or weak. It's just different operating systems. And that's why, of course, this all one-size-fits-all social media advice fails so spectacularly. Learn from your mistakes works great for sensitives, but it's useless for unawares who can't see the pattern. Or you just need more information, helps unawares but frustrates compulsive, who already have all the information they could possibly need. Just use willpower, fails everyone, but especially compulsive. So the next time you find yourself in a familiar pattern, the one that makes you want to scream, why do I keep on doing this to myself? Just pause and ask, which type am I in this situation? And what kind of support does this part of me actually need? And here's the key takeaway, right? You're not sabotaging yourself. You're protecting yourself, just in ways that no longer serve you. So here's how we can put it into practice. Ask the right question. Not why do I keep sabotaging myself, but what part of me is trying to protect me right now? Identify your pattern. Quick learner. You might be sensitive in this situation. Need things explained. Likely unaware. Know better but can't stop. Might be in a compulsive profile. Use the right reframe, right? The power of this reframe that it puts you back into partnership with yourself. No more blaming. No more kind of I'm your worst enemy. If you're a sensitive or an unaware, it can sound something like, I don't understand why I do this, and now I can choose different. That would also work really well in an EFT tapper. But if you lean compulsive, your reframe could be something like, I can't outthink this. I need structure, supports, and practices that make change possible, and needing those doesn't make me weak. Or get the right support. That might mean using if-then planning, connecting with your body, redesigning your environment, working with a therapist or a coach, whatever, right? It's just key to kind of stop shaming yourself for being stuck. It's to recognize that your brain needs a different approach. and to be curious. I'm like, okay, which approach can I try now? Again, instead of why do I keep sabotaging myself, the more compassionate question would be, what kind of support does this part of me need so I can move forward? And that's the key, right? Because self-sabotage isn't what you think it is. So the next time you hear yourself say, I'm sabotaging myself, pause and ask that, what am I trying to act? And what support would help me move forward? And that's kind of like how we move from blame into change. So thank you for walking the scenic route with me today. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who feels stuck in the I have my own worst enemy loop, and check the show notes for a link to the research and everything, all other resources mentioned in this podcast. See you next week.
And just like that, we've reached the end of another journey together on the Scenic Route podcast. Thank you for spending time with us. Curious for more stories or in search of the resources mentioned in today's episode? Visit us at scenicroutepodcast.com for everything you need. And if you're ready to embrace your scenic route, I've got something special for you. Step off the beaten path with my Scenic Route affirmation card deck. It's crafted for those moments when you're seeking courage, yearning to trust your inner voice, and eager to carve out a path authentically, unmistakably yours. Pick your Scenic Route affirmation today and let it support you. Excited about where your journey might lead? I certainly am. Remember, the Scenic Route is not just about the destination, but the experiences, learnings, and joy we discover along the way. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the Scenic Route again.